Just got back from a quick trip to North Dakota, where I was invited to come speak at their the IBAND annual meeting, which is Independent Beef Association of North Dakota. And while I was there, I got to sit in on part of the meeting, and part of what they do is they invite their local politicians and state politicians in to come and talk to them. And this guy by the name of John Hoeven, which is their state senator, came. And he is one of the biggest assholes I've been around in a while. I realized that pretty quick. But guys are pissed off about this electronic identification mandate. That's another thing I realized real quick. You know, people are pissed, especially cattle ranchers. And if you're not familiar, the USDA has come down with what I call now is their commandments. They call them rules, but I feel like these are the commandments that have been passed down from their gods in this case, beef packing, cattle feeding corporations that run USDA as far as the beef part of it goes. And USDA has been given these commandments, and they're pushing them down on the peasants, and that is to force cattle ranchers to use electronic identification ear tags. The mandate that's going in now is for some cattle, but USDA has been clear that their end goal is to mandate EID tags on all cattle from birth to slaughter. And the cattle industry doesn't unite very often. So there are a lot of independent thinkers in the industry, and so that's why we have 3 separate national cattlemen's organizations, because they don't get along all the time. But right now there isn't one of those organizations that supports this mandate. 2 of the organizations, RCAF and U.S. Cattlemen's, are actively fighting against it, trying to stop the mandate. The 3rd organization, NCBA, their leadership is ran by the same people the USDA is ran by. Their gods are these corporate beef packers and cattle feeders. And so their leadership refuses to fight this mandate, but their members have fought against it. Their leadership tried to push through a policy where the organization would support the mandate, and their membership fought against that policy and was able to stop it. And so as far as membership goes, you know, all 3 organizations are against this mandate. And so at this meeting, you know, John Hoeven walks in and kind of acts like he's gracing everyone with his presence, and he's doing them a big favor by even being there. And you know, he was talking, and one of the questions, like I said, guys are pissed off. And the question was completely respectful. You know, he wasn't out of line or anything like that, but I think that Hoeven realized that guys are pissed. And he was asked, like, what are you going to do? I think the question was, what are you going to do to help us stop this thing, this EID mandate? And he said, there's nothing you can do because it's already done, and you don't have the votes. And then he walked up towards the guy and he pointed his finger at him and he said, there's this little thing. He was real condescending and like just talking down to him. And he says, you know, there's this little thing we do in the Senate called voting. And if you don't have the votes, you're not going to get what you want, and you don't have the votes. And he was just being about as big a jerk as he could be. And I think everyone was kind of taken aback by it and surprised at what a jerk he was being. And so the meeting just kind of rolled on, and you know, he left, and good riddance, I think the feeling was when he left. But I think about those ranchers and those guys that are asking their representatives to, you know, what can they do to help them, and then they're getting yelled at, and they're getting a finger in their face about it and talked down to. And for those ranchers, I just kind of wonder, you know, as they're going home from that deal, they got to be thinking, you know, what can we do? What else can we do? And I know what they're going to do up in the Dakotas. They're very independent up there, and they're going to keep fighting. They're not going to give this thing up. And so what I want to do is keep fighting with them, and use my platform as much as I can to get the word out to get a hold of your representatives. There are good politicians out there. One of them is Harriet Hageman. She has put together an amendment that would stop this thing in the House of Representatives. So if you get a hold of your people that are serving in the House, tell them to get behind Harriet Hageman's amendment that would stop the EID mandate. in the Senate. Mike Rounds and I think some other guys have put together, I think it is called a resolution of disapproval. I got flies all over the place in here. A resolution of disapproval. And so if you contact your senators, tell them, especially John Hoeven, to get behind Mike Rounds' legislation that would stop the EID mandate for all cattle. And so I know they're going to keep fighting because on October 7th, there's having a rally in Rapid City, South Dakota, where both RCAF and U.S. cattlemen are coming together kind of to, see for these flies, they're coming together to try to stop this thing and to rally people around and to get people to take notice of what's going on. Corbett Wall is going to be there, Brett Kenzie, President RCAF, Justin Tupper, President USDA, Bill Bullard. A number of people are going to be speaking there. So if you can, if you're in that area, go support that deal and get a hold of your reps. Thanks. And keep fighting. Keep fighting.